Labino and Legislator Laura Curran as well. Laura Curran, and that's what Legislator Delia DeRugio just wanted to say something real quick, and then we'll jump to the break.
I just want to mention two things. If you add up all the fees, it adds up to approximately 9% tax increase. It's basically an increase. Whether you call it tax increase or you don't, it's one thing. But to tout the fact that you're not raising taxes, yet the increase is 9.2% is really dishonest in my opinion. Number two, we were told that we were going to have an additional 150 police officers that are going to help with terrorism and all that. And again, we all, believe me, we spend 87% of our taxable income on the police. We all have a tremendous amount of respect for the police. Yet, when you break that number down, it turns out that some of the police were already hired last year and were running on a deficit, which I didn't know until our last budget hearing. And a lot of them are civil service jobs that this rate is going to be bringing in, which is important. We need the civil service jobs also. Yet, these are not the people that will be walking the streets looking, helping with terrorism or any type of drug issue. The bottom line is we're talking about maybe 60 new additional officers, and if this is a 60 million increase for it's $1 million, you know, it's really, you have to look at all the numbers. And the only thing I can ask, we are standing here against this fee, but what really works is the power of the people, and we have time. I would call your local legislator if they are in favor of it, and continue to call, continue to send emails, and we really could use your help. Unfortunately, with our voting no, it's not enough. We need some people on the other side to realize that this is a completely unjust and unfair tax on our citizens. And just one last thing, I think it's almost bad for our businesses too to have the parking fees be that high. I mean, you're gonna like have a panic attack if you're parked in, you know, Manhasset or some other place that has these parking, you know, timers going, and you're 10 minutes late, you get charged over $200. I don't think that brings in business to our local small businesses. So thank you so much. I'm going to move back over here to 23.
I would just like to reiterate that unfortunately this administration is not listening to the residents of our county. In my particular district, the message was out loud and clear that, including the town supervisor, that the 6th precinct should be reopened, trying to really improve public safety, perception of public safety. And I have received numerous emails, as we all have, about the opposition to this administrative fee, $105. This is rather high and unfair. And I think the administration here, the county executive, should be looking for other ways to increase its revenues in the budget, cut expenses, but do not tax the people in this unfair way. This is a fee that is disproportionate to the infraction. Thank you.
Thank you. Legislator Curran?
So I've been looking at the surpluses, the year-end surpluses for the previous 3 years, 2013, 14, and 15, that the county has said that it has. And if you count up and add up all of those surpluses, it's $122.8 million in surplus over the previous 3 years. And I know they're projecting something for this year as well. So this fee is supposed to raise $64 million, but with these surpluses, do we really need this fee? I would say that according to the administration's own data, absolutely not. And they talk about these surpluses as they brag about these surpluses, but should our residents be paying for their bragging rights? I really don't think so.
Thank you. Before we take any questions, we just want to make sure we point your attention. Oh, Julie, you can do it. We just want to make sure we point your attention to some of the fees and some of the costs when we see comparisons to our neighbors here in Queens. But we tag this as the high price of cost of living in Nassau, which we all know Nassau is very expensive to live in. Taxes, fees, everything along the lines. But you take a look at an expired meter. If you come out 10 minutes after, if you're in Nassau, you're going to pay $220. If you come out in Queens, you pay $35. Parking on the opposite traffic, $220 here in Nassau, $45 in Queens. Parked out of a stall, $240 in Nassau, $45 in Queens. You're getting the gist of this. And expired registration, $285 in Nassau, $65 in Queens. This is appalling, especially when you have a county executive who said I want to approximate about 6 years ago that Nassau County is a taxing, high cost of living county. How can you put forward measures that is going to exacerbate that issue by these fees? So from our standpoint, it's very clear that Nassau County residents cannot afford these fees, and we need people and residents to come out at the budget meeting to ensure that these things do not happen by voicing their opinion. That being said, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Kevon,
Rob?
can you explain a little bit why you think this is illegal? And if it's illegal, are the Democrats prepared to file suit to stop this once it's...
Well, we believe it's illegal, and one of the things that we specified in our letter on October 24th to the county executive was specifying why we thought it was illegal. If you take a look at the controller's report, and the controller recognizes and uses some case law to validate the issue, but obviously when you are trying to, for the purpose of trying to generate revenue for the budget to offset government functions, normal government functions, the issue becomes an illegal matter. If they were raising the fee or raising the administrative fee to go towards bolstering the traffic division of the county or bolster operations to make our roadways safer, it'd be one thing. But what they're talking about, and by the admission of the deputy county executive as well as the police commissioner, that this is strictly going towards paying for the new officers and obviously overtime and the costs that are exceeding in the county. So from our estimation, based off of the controller report, which is very clear, and I can give you a copy of this letter, it indicates that this is an illegal maneuver and an illegal tax for the illegal fee that they're imposing onto the residents of the county.
And as far as the lawsuit?
I mean, obviously, it hasn't passed yet, so we would want to see whether or not it passed. And if it does pass, obviously, I think the county is open to a lawsuit. Any resident, it doesn't have to be the Democrats in the legislature, any resident could file a lawsuit that basically on the facts that I just presented today. So we're going to take a look at where we are, assuming it passes. After it passes, we'll take a look. But again, more importantly than it looking political that the Democrats are filing a lawsuit against the Republicans and everybody says, oh, Democrats, Republicans just can't work together. This maneuver, these fees, make the county vulnerable, which is more important. And since we're vulnerable to someone challenging this lawsuit, similar to when people challenge the speed cameras, we make ourselves vulnerable for losing this revenue and jeopardizing the good work that the police department does. It'd be very hard to make up that revenue in other places of the budget.
Kevon, how should residents here be responding not only to the $105 ticket fee, but also to their county executive now indicted who's giving himself a $17,000 pay raise?
Well, I mean, obviously they should be expressing outrage in regards to the $105 ticket fee. I mean, the $105 ticket fee to me is onerous. I mean, I think this has been spelled out by Alec. It's very clear that this is going to hurt people on the lower end of the scale more than anyone else. Most people that are driving to work are middle-class families. That $105 is the difference between that and them being able to pay their bills. So I think from that standpoint, we need them to come down on the 31st. In regards to the county executive's increase in his salary, look, the same thing goes hand in hand. The county executive, as you know, has been arrested and has been indicted. From our standpoint, everyone deserves their opportunity in court. However, this ties into our argument for an independent inspector general, which we've been calling for now for the last, I would say, year and a half. And from our standpoint, we need to add transparency to this process so that the residents of this county feel comfortable in their decisions of their elected officials. So we want to be able to have that process in place. We're still fighting for an inspector general to be an independent inspector general, because I know what they'll say, that the person's already there in that seat. We're still fighting for an independent inspector general. I think the events of the last week and a half substantiate that greatly.
Are there any other proposed new fees in the county executive's budget that could be subject to the same kind of legal challenge as this one?
I'll ask Michelle, are there any other fees to our knowledge that would, I don't think so.
No.
Any other fees that can be subject to a challenge?
There's a similar fee for truck drivers, a motor carrier fee it's called. So any truck driver who is issued a ticket, the new proposal is for a $200 fine. They had it at the same fine, $105, but it is now a $200 fine. So it's a similar.
Similar type.
Yeah, they haven't called it a public safety fee, they call it a public carrier fee, but it's when they get, when a truck driver gets a ticket, it would affect them in the same manner.
But, and this doesn't even capture what I mean, obviously, you all know that we've been exemplifying fees going up across the board, from pet shops to air conditioning, you name it. There are fees going up across the board. Some of them are going up by 100, 200% in some cases. So from our standpoint, it's very clear that this is a heavily fee-relying budget, which to me is risky because you're going to drive people out, but at the same time, I think people's habits will continue to change for the better, that they will not longer incur these tickets at the same rate that the county has received in the past.
Is the county executive fooling the public in the way that he uses the word fees? I mean, you talk fee, air conditioner, pet shops here. If he had talked the word taxes, try and raise the same amount of money, would people be more outraged? I mean, should they look at this the same way?
I believe they should. To me, it's the same pocket. I mean, whether you're paying for fees or you're paying for taxes, it's coming out of the same pocket. So we truly believe this is nothing more than a backdoor tax increase, which is a money grab, where they're trying to get money out of people's pockets in a way where they may not express the same outrage because you don't hear the word tax. But we've been very clear. This is nothing more than a tax. That's what it is. So we call it a tax and fee. The administration and the Republicans in the majority can call it what they please, but at the end of the day, it's an illegal tax and fee to pay for a cost that a tax would pay for.
This argument has been made about people's habits changing. I'm just wondering if there have ever been any, maybe you would know from AAA, have there been any studies done of a correlation between a fee going up and then number of tickets issued going down because people are doing better at parking and driving legally?
I think particularly when it relates to parking and traffic infractions, what deters people is getting out on the road and issuing more tickets. It's not as much raising the fine super high, it's the volume of tickets. And that we want to see consistently more enforcement for the most dangerous violations, like something like distracted driving. That's what we think is really going to drive change, not just hiking fees or taxes.
And one last thing for you. Are you worried that, if this were to go through, that there could be more enforcement on the parking, like you just said? I mean, if they need the money, they're going to raise money, so go out, start penalizing, giving more tickets out to people who are illegally parked instead of the lower cost speeding and distracted driving. I mean, is there a fear?
That's a concern. I mean, obviously, the red light cameras infractions are when you drive through them, but yes. Nassau County gives out over 600,000, I believe, parking and traffic infractions a year. That's a concern. But at the same time, I trust that the men and women that serve in the Nassau County Police Department will not see this for some type of issuance of a money grab, and they'll continue to conduct business in a very professional, well-mannered way, which is fair and honest to the people and motorists of this county. So obviously, you're always worried about administration visuals outside of the good men and women that serve in the police department, pushing an alternative agenda, but I don't believe that's going to be the issue because I truly believe that the men and women that serve in this police department will not allow that to stand. Also, I just wanted to add, one thing that we didn't talk about today is the need for our small businesses, and our small businesses with these fees that we have identified in previous press conferences are pushing small businesses out of Nassau County. It's going to force more businesses to board up or to leave Nassau County and look to relocate to places like Suffolk and Queens as well. So this is a very, very onerous taxing fee budget, which I truly believe is nothing going to do but hurt Nassau County residents and small businesses alike.
Thank you.
No,
Thank you.
everybody.